So, Mr. Oliver, this one, just did an episode on the American Railfreight system. And since John Oliver is a British guy, guess where he started? Yes, he talked about the show Thomas the Tank Engine, even though people probably don't even know what Thomas the Tank Engine is. It's just Thomas and Friends. They did it like 20 years ago. They changed it, which makes sense. Most Americans don't know what a tank engine is. It's like, what, a train that shoots things? But no. I'm not quite sure John Oliver or his writers realize just what a huge can of fascinating worms they've uncovered. Because here's what's crazy. The online Thomas fandom, which is very much a thing, and the online movement to support more rail, they grew up independently of each other, but they can, and I think will, come together, and it's going to be huge. It's going to change the world. And here's why. When we think of children's media, we tend to think either of mindless entertainment, one, or, say, educational material that might be either just very generic, here's what basic things are, letters, numbers, colors, and all that, or some sort of social change movement. This has been true since the days of Sesame Street. But here's what's interesting. The Thomas the Tank Engine books, the Railway series, they were educational and social change products or train propaganda before broadcast media was even a thing, or at least TV broadcast media. The Railway series books from 1943 to 1972 were social satire of British railways. They captured the nationalization of the British rail network, and then it's changing from steam power to diesel power. But it also captured the movement of people like author Reverend Wilbert Awdry to take railway lines that were closed because they were no longer profitable and turning them into volunteer-run tourist attractions. People loving trains for the sake of loving trains, for the sake of something to do because people love trains. Not out of necessarily the capitalist desire that built so much of the rail network in the first place and that ended up destroying so much of the rail network in favor of cars. That's the Thomas history story that most fans know about, but most regular people don't really. They go, oh, happy trains with faces, yay. Not realizing the real cool story. But what's been happening over the past, I think, 5 years, although I would say it's even more than that, is a greater realization here in the United States. I can't speak as much for the UK, maybe a little bit, but in the States, we're realizing, oh my God, we were deprived of a rail network. We were never asked if the nation's passenger rail network would be destroyed in favor of cars. So you've got two separate movements that you'd think would be united, but they're not. But now they could be. My thesis, then, unbeknownst to everyone, Thomas the Tank Engine, even more than the UN thought they could be the most radical and unexpected force for social change that anyone could have expected. Imagine Henry, my personal favorite engine, by the way, Henry, leading to the new movement to rebuild American rail. You think he would expect that?